All right, good afternoon, traders. Today's Friday. It is August 14th, 2026. 2 weeks left here in the BYOB trading room for me. Today was a good day. Did about 4,800 on used 25% of my account to capture 4,800. So had a 31K account. So let's take a look at the market today, and let's take a look at how we started and see how we got to where we're going. So I'm going to push this over. And at the beginning of the day in the pre-market, we were showing a melt up. It was a melt up pattern in the SPY from the overnight. And you can see it right here. So it was like that. It was that 20-degree slope. And I got to tell you, I saw that and I said, you know what? It's going to be a long, difficult day. And once I saw that right there, and I thought it was going to come down here, maybe gap fill, snap back up, and continue with that. Now, let me just say, normally this would continue for 2-3 days and develop into a hyperbolic move that goes like ballistic straight up to the top. That's what this normally does. It starts out slow like this, kind of a melting, drifting, and then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but after a while, it begins to curve higher and higher and higher, and then it goes into that hyperbolic. So I thought that was the beginning of what we were going to get today, but Friday was a lot different. We got the retail sales numbers today, and they sucked. Okay, they really did. They weren't any good at all. Actually, every single line we missed expectations. So that's not a good sign that the consumer is dead in the middle of summer. All right. That should not happen. Especially school's not even going yet. All right. So, I mean, school started now, but those were results for probably last month. So that's not a very good sign at all. I did see, I do a little bit of research on computer parts, and I did see that the CPUs are coming down. Memory and RAM are still up there. So that's nice to see that the CPU prices are coming back a little bit here. So I'll take that. That's nice to see. That brings in a lot of revenue when you're getting twice as much for the same CPU you were selling 3 months ago. All right. So that's not going to be good well, it would probably be good, as we get closer and closer to Christmas. Price keeps dropping right into those Black Friday deals. So that's going to be nice if that continues that way for the consumer, but for the investor, not so much. All right. So here we had this. All right. Then we did this little snappy thing here, and then, after making a lower high, and then rolling over right here, breaking through, being a red erases green right underneath all of this grouping. Okay, red erases green. We started the picture of money. You can see right here the VWAP line. I'm on the 8-minute. I'll go to the 10-minute. Okay, you can see the VWAP line is pointed down. You can see the 8 EMA is pointed down. You can see the distance between the two get wider and wider and wider, or the distance grows between the two. Okay, so you can see somebody put in a big sell order, obviously right there. That was just push it down, push it down, push it down. When we opened up this morning, max pain was 770. I did not think we were going to go back to 770. I actually didn't even think we were going to go south at all. I thought with this trend right here, we were going to continue to melt up, because when we got trends like this is that slow, defined trend that can that can just cut right through any resistance. And knowing that we had resistance here yesterday, I thought for sure that they were just going to melt it up and go straight through the 780 and start working their way up towards 800. Not the case at all. Somebody came in with some big sell orders and just knocked the price down. We're still up here. Okay, we're still bullish. We are consolidating over prior consolidation. If we examine this, we're still bull flagging. We're looking good. Coming back here would not be good. Breaking those lows would not be good. Okay, so coming back would not be good, and breaking these lows would be even worse. All right, so there's SPY on the 10-minute, and that was the trade, the nice downtrend trade right there, traded with puts. Another downtrend after that. Looking for price to snap back to VWAP on this area right here, and it just kind of petered out. Looks like the dealers got a hold of the gamma, or the dealers with the gamma exposure are probably going to pin price right into the end of the day. I was hoping to see possibly institutions, big players, or the bulls snap this back up to gap fill up here, or even the beginning of day at the end of the day. But you can see it's 339 and no sign of increased activity. We had coming into the close, we've got the mirrored look on the liquidos over here. See the mirrored pinch, all right? See the wide section in both the red, the calls, and the puts, and then they come together. You got that mirrored pinch right there. Almost looks like Bollinger Bands or out there. You know how they kind of move in tandem together, and we got the mirrored pinch right there. So that's where we're at right now. I don't see anything exciting coming in to the close. Once that happens, it's pretty much a pinned price. Whenever I see that happen, see like here, all the mishmash right there. That's the moo orders getting separated out and everything getting worked in. That's normal trading. This is dealers controlling price into the close right there when you get that mirrored look like that. So we'll see what happens. All right, we've got 20 minutes left. Hey, I've seen them do it in the last 5 minutes. I've seen them do it in the last 3 minutes. All right, so that's what we got today. So again, that 10-minute downtrend. Again, the 10-minute downtrend. You got the stack. You got the sticks plotting underneath the falling 8. All right, and the 3 EMA plotting underneath. You've got daylight between the two. We had a pullback. Notice the pullback didn't make it to VWAP, showing further weakness. All right, there's something that you might not understand. If we didn't make it back to VWAP, we're showing further weakness, and guess what? Yes, we dug out another low. Actually, these were gamma holes. We had a gamma hole at 777. All right, and we had a gamma hole at 776. And then we had a big accumulation of gamma call exposure at, it's starting to curl right there, at 775. All right, so you can see it came right down into that 775 number. So there was a time earlier in the day when on the gamma exposure where this call wall was huge. In this 775 strike was actually, these were inversed. Only thing, the call wall stayed at 780. All right, but this 775 looked about like this size right here, and the call wall was up around $9 billion or $6 billion. Way up where it is like right now. So these two bars or strikes were reversed. Now, when I saw them throw everything at this and I saw this grow, all right, I knew immediately that price is heading right for that. All right, because otherwise there would be no need to do that. They would have just melted it off. All right, but instead I saw them grow this from this little candle into something like this, doing from a little tree sapling into, you know, a mature tree right here. And that's when I knew we're going for that 775. And you can see where we went. We went right down 775.50. That would be normal price action to see price go right to the 775.50 number right there. So another little lesson on two things here. One, the failure to pull back the VWAP. All right. Okay, when you get that failure, probably going to dig out a lower low again. All right. Market's still weak. All right. The other lesson was right here. We were over here and we're going through probably three different gamma holes right here. And then this growing let me know that they were going to send price. If price wasn't going there, they were going to send it to that 775 strike. Why is that a magnet? Because it's got the most amount of gamma exposure. If you're a dealer, you want to alleviate yourself from your hedge. You want to remove risk. Now the hedge is on there to remove your risk, but it also leaves you exposed. So when you get a big position of gamma exposure, what you want to do is, you see as we go into the close, see how all of these turn into little nuggets? All right, first they're like bricks, and now they turn into like almost little nuggets, okay? That they want to leave with almost nothing there, or actually they want to have calls and prices above the strike that they bought. That would be ideal, all right? Because then you get to cash them out and you make money, all right? Is to have calls and price to be, it'd be really nice to have price up here, but obviously we don't have any buyers based on all of those red candles right through here. See those red candles right underneath my cursor? Okay, right there. So that becomes the magnet as you've got this huge, this thing grows, this thing decreases. So price is going to head towards the biggest strike with the most amount of gamma exposure. All right. And there's a reason that they did that. Okay. And it was probably institutional order flow or iceberg orders that are just constantly beating down on the market. So they knew that, probably a good chance we better just buy these calls down here. All right. So I didn't know what an iceberg order was until till today, right now. Now I read about it last night when I was watching the video that I shared in the room up here. If you want to see two interesting videos to watch, by the way. You've got one shared by text. I don't know if that's not it. This one right here. And then he's got another channel right here, which I want to take a look at. Okay, so he's got another channel there. And let me go find the... And then we've got one, the one that I shared is... Let's see if I can find it for you. So that's that one there. This is the guy that was arrested by the Russians. All right, that's... This guy right here. This is the guy that was arrested by the Russians. He does 150 million in scalping. All right, and then he's got some cool stuff that he goes over. What you'll learn, price always moves towards liquidity. All right, see that? So the answer to your question is also right here. How exact VWAP entry, the black hole setup are on setup on the ES, okay, and then the VIX helps him decide his position size every day. What the iceberg orders reveal about the big players, why RSI, MACD, and Fibonacci are not used on the institutional level. As a matter of fact, they probably use VWAP. I've heard that many times. All right, and there's some other stuff there. So those are those orders there. This is Trading Lit. This is to help understand GEX right there. And then this is, yeah, that was me looking for Trading Lit right there. And then my order, my video that I was learning about iceberg orders from last night was, oh, thanks, Tex. No, a wall of call stops market from going up. And once we hit a call wall, we will more than likely slow down. Yeah, we will. When we hit a call wall, we will more than likely slow down. Same thing when we hit the put wall. When we hit a put wall, we slow down. Yeah, if we're going down. If we're going down and we hit the put wall, we slow down. Okay? Now, if you've got a positive gamma regime, all right, and if you want to understand what the regime is, you would look under net GEX. Okay, see that is a positive. See, it's green. Everything is green. We have a positive gamma regime. Okay, so as we come into a black hole or a gamma hole, what happens is that gamma hole acts as support as well. Notice they move the put wall up to 774. Now you see the little nubs have all disappeared. See? This is them cleaning up. This is them cleaning up the gamma, all right? Because those would be contracts, all right, that would probably expire worthless, all right? So what they're trying to do, oh, there's some, it just popped in right there. But those are contracts that would expire worthless. So what they try to do is just clean it all up. And you can see they reduce, okay, their exposure and their, they have to buy these by law or by regulation in order to produce a liquid market. On the flip side, as we come back through, we wind up having to wait for them to clean this up before they allow us to pass. Well, that was strange. Net GEX went from, I don't know, from 7 to 10 and then back to 7. That was strange. Anyways, right there. All right, so I moved this out. Thanks for sharing that, Tex. Tex has better verbiage than I do. All right, so, I mean, I can help you part of the way. He can probably take you home, you know what I'm saying, and get you to the point where you got something that's a valuable lesson. Yeah, there's nuances, and even I don't even know all the nuances yet. So, all right, so that's where we're at. So that we were looking at that. So here we are coming into the close. There's 8 minutes left. let's just review the market. I'm going to call this bearish consolidation. There's a little squeaker 10-minute uptrend. I don't think they'll make it back to VWAP, but the bulls, they might pull something. They might pull something off before close. They've got 8 minutes left. I don't think so, but you never know. I can see the ramp up going on right now. Got like a little 10-minute uptrend. There's not enough daylight there, but it's more like bearish consolidation for me. Okay, so there's SPY on the 10-minute. On the 2-hour, I'm going to take the pre-market off. All right, so on the pre-market, if you squint your eyes, we still have a little bit of daylight between the 3 and the 8 EMA. Okay, I wouldn't have seen that unless I took the pre-market off. All right, so you've got 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. You've got consolidation over prior consolidation. That's a bullish environment right there. But you need an uptrend, okay? You just can't buy anything. You need the uptrend to show you that the bulls are stepping in. But that is a bullish environment, which gives me a bullish bias, all right? But I still need the uptrend. It looks like they're pushing it. They're trying to. All right, on the daily chart, all right, we've got, I don't think we got new all-time highs today, okay? We got an inside day, a lower high, a higher low. We closed over a bullish trap, over the rising 17. Here's the quad lines. Take the trading off. All right, we're at the top of quadrant 4, so we're bullish, and we're still in an uptrend. This is a bull flag right there. We're bullish, still in an uptrend. Here's the origin of the rally back here in April. Okay, so bullish, still in an uptrend, top of quadrant 4. Weekly chart, same deal. Bullish and in an uptrend, top of quadrant 4. Nothing broken here on the 17. Okay, monthly chart, see all the green dots? Still bullish, still in an uptrend. Okay, on SPY monthly. Let's go back to QQQ. Okay, QQQ on 10-minute chart. All right, got a little 10-minute uptrend. Oh, it looks like the Q's made it back to VWAP. Did SPY make it back to VWAP? No. Okay, Q's made it back to VWAP. So Q's closing the day with a 10-minute uptrend. 2-hour, they're closing the day. You can see, squint your eyes, and you can see the 3 EMA riding up on top of the 8. So we got a 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. 10-minute uptrend, 2-hour uptrend. Again, consolidation or a grouping of price action over prior price action. Okay, that's bullish. That's bullish for me. That gives me a bullish bias, but I still need an uptrend. So I need like a 10, a 5, 10, or a 15-minute uptrend. All right, I want to see sign of bulls stepping in. All right, on Monday. On the daily chart, we've got, I got to tell you, I think that's a higher high. Yeah, it is. Okay, so higher low, higher high, closed over a bullish trap. Okay, we're up here at the top of quadrant 4. We're up over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's a pink line. Okay, if I pan way out, the origin of this rally back here in April. So we're bullish, all right, and we're in an uptrend because we made higher highs. There's a high, we made a higher high. Okay, there's QQQ daily, bullish, and in an uptrend. Okay, let's take a look at IWM. And for IWM, yesterday's high was 305.05. Today's high is 305.18. So new all-time high for IWM. Again, the origin of the rally is April. Hard not to be bullish and in an uptrend if you're making new all-time highs on the daily chart. Okay, so bullish and in an uptrend right there. Diamond Dow. Okay, Diamond Dow, a lot of red showing up here on Diamond Dow, and the green is just not that impressive at all. Spinning top, then a doji. Okay, we've got an inside day. It's a lower high, a higher low. We're closed inside a bullish trap over the rising 17, middle of quadrant 4. Yeah, we're still bullish, and we're still in an uptrend, but we're not moving up. We're melting off or over to the right. That's Diamond Dow. Bullish and in an uptrend. Again, the origin of the rally starts back here in April. And here we are in the middle of quadrant 4 up here, or top of quadrant 4. Let's take a look at FNGU. All right, FNGU, higher low, higher high, closed inside a bullish trap. Over the rising 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's bullish and in an uptrend for FNGU. Let's take a look at silver and gold. Okay, so for silver, obviously, okay, this is quadrant 1, this is 2, so this is neutral, all right? Not in the upper third, not in the lower third, so it's neutral. All right, today's candle's a higher low and a higher high, but red. Closed on top of a bullish trend, a bullish uptrend, a bullish trap, okay? Over the rising 17. So neutral and still in an uptrend, showing a bull flag right there. Nice 4-day hold right there. Silver's going to look interesting on Monday. All right. If we can get one good green candle, we could probably wipe out all 4 of these red candles right here. That's a nice hold for silver. Again, neutral and in an uptrend. Still caught underneath the midpoint, underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. All right. So a long way to go to get to the bullish section, which would be the upper third up here. Okay, they got to go from 58 all the way up to, well, close to 78. So they got $20 to move this price action to get bullish. All right, so there's silver. Daily chart, uptrend, but neutral down here underneath the midpoint. Okay, let's take a look at gold. Okay, gold's in the upper third, so that's bullish. All right, and they're holding the higher ground too. It's a nice sign. Monday might be a nice day for them too. And in an uptrend, so bullish and in an uptrend. Today's candle, nothing to brag about. Higher low, higher high, closed over a bullish trap, over the rising 17, over the 50, under the all-time high anchored VWAP, but in the upper third. So bullish, still in an uptrend. Okay, for gold. Take a look at USO. Okay, USO, a lot of green showing up here on USO and in a bull flag. That looks more promising than the silver and gold. Inside day, lower high, higher low, closed over a bullish trap, over the wavy 17 here. Middle of, in the upper third, so that's going to be bullish. Bullish, but still in a downtrend. It's one of those dysfunctional downtrends because here's a low right here, and they made a lower low. But since making the lower low, get this, price has done nothing but melt up or over to the right. Okay, so USO, bullish, dysfunctional downtrend currently. Let's take a look at UNG. And UNG is, the dots are obscuring my candle. So the high is 10.11. The high is 10.13. So we got a higher high. The low is 9.89. The low is 9.90. Higher low, higher high. That's really hard to see. Closing underneath a bearish cross or a bullish trap, underneath the falling 17, bottom of quadrant 1, all right, underneath the 50 SMA right here, okay, underneath the 17-month high anchored VWAP, bottom of quadrant 1 that's bearish and still in a downtrend for UNG. Let's take a look at internals. Now, yesterday, the bulls showed up on the participation. All right, and notice yesterday We had a higher low and a higher high. And look what happened. The bears showed up today. Lower high, lower low. All right. So this one goes to the bears. And if we pan way out, this is the reversal zone right down here. And you can see the highs get lower and lower and lower and lower. All right, so this is reversal zone. You can see there's price on the 15. This one goes to the bears, less participation. We don't want to see that. We want to see increase in participation. All right, so there's the 15-minute there. Let's take a look at T21.22. Bulls did well holding it together, but let me just say, they did not make the highs that they made yesterday, and they did hold the lows that they made yesterday. So bulls holding it together. Little breakfast in the buy zone.
Zorro knows running a business safely takes preparation and purpose. Count on Zorro for tools, parts, and supplies, so you can stay focused on a safe and strong finish to the day. Get what you need when you need it at Zorro.com.
I'm looking for a speaker somewhere. Okay. All right, so T21.22, this one goes to the bulls. So T21.01 goes to the bears. T21.22 goes to the bulls. T21.23, new all-time high. Bullish gap up. Look at them hold the highs. That looks promising for Monday right there. Bullish gap up. Bears couldn't fill it all day. Up over the rising 200 SMA. That's where you want to be if you're a bull. All right, so new all-time highs. Again, that's going to be bullish and in an uptrend when you're making new all-time highs. It's hard not to be. 3-bar chart, again, up over the rising 200, bullish and in an uptrend. Again, it was a new all-time high on the 15, so you know it's going to be a new all-time high for the 3-bar chart as well. Okay, FNGU. Not helping us today. Okay, so bullish gap up, and the bears filled the gap immediately, and we had a melt off all day. All right, didn't even make it back to VWAP all day long, and we got caught underneath the 200 SMA. Okay, so did we get lower lows? Here's the low down here. Okay. And we did not make lower lows. So believe it or not, this is still in an uptrend. Okay. Now, if they went down and went back up over the 17 to create a valley, if they got all the way back up here to the 17 to create a valley, all right, and then made a lower low from there, that would have been a downtrend. But this is just a pullback in their uptrend because they did not make a higher low right here, okay, or a lower high. All right, so they are still in an uptrend even with this melt off that we had under the rising 200 SMA. Again, we like to be above it as bulls right there. And you can see we were bullish gap up, got filled by the bears immediately. Kind of probably dragged SPY and QQQ with it. All right, this is FNGU. All right, so this is still bullish and still in an uptrend, even though it was red all day long. All right, it's hard to understand that. But because they made a cut right through there, all right, they didn't make a lower high for them that would have made a valley and then a lower low right there, but they didn't. It's been low all day long, so this is still the same move. So it is a pullback in their uptrend. That's FNGU on the 15. So they are still going to be bullish and in an uptrend, believe it or not. And you can see we're in the upper third. So we're bullish and in an uptrend right there for FNGU. All right, on the U.S. dollar index, still in a downtrend. Got a nice bear flag showing. For the investor in us, we like a cheap dollar, but for the consumer, it sucks because everything costs more. Okay, so here's a low. We made a lower low. We're still in a downtrend. Still in this 13, 14 month bear flag right here. Okay, that's US dollar index. All right, I'll answer questions in the room. If there's no questions, we'll call it a week. And I'll see you guys all Monday. Anybody got anything you want me to look at? Nothing? All right. All right, I'll play a little song. This one's a little rock and roll. All right. Enjoy this one. I like it a lot.